Well, if you bothered getting up for it, and I'll be honest, I didn't. Over the weekend. You'll know that the All Blacks lost. Lost at Twickenham to Britain. My brother was actually there in a crowd with a mate of his watching the game. And I don't know, I watched the replay, could I put a finger on it? It's just like they weren't the All Blacks. And the Grand Slam that we were meant to do is gone. What does it all mean? And do we even care anymore, Laurie Mains? Do we even care anymore about the All Blacks?
Yes, of course we do. They're going through a bit of an unsettled time at the moment, and it's, I don't know whether they can, find the game plan they want to use or what. I don't know. It looks to me like there may not be 100% unity among the coaches, or cohesion might be a better word, among the coaches as to the game plan they're going to play.
Mm. Well, because I was reading, and I do still care, obviously, because I read all the coverage. And I was reading, player-by-player analysis, and it's not like anyone was really terrible. Bodie had a couple of missed, touch kicks and things. It basically said everyone played pretty good, and playing pretty good as an All Black is being a pretty bloody good rugby player. But something's kind of not clicking, Laurie, particularly in the last quarter of these matches. There's no bloody spirit there. There's no mongrel there.
Well, you're right when you say that, it's not clicking. In the last two matches, we've started the game so well.
Yeah.
And looked to me like the game plan, was solid. But the opposition have been able to knock us off that game plan. And we're not, we don't seem to have a plan B to bring it back. And, we have to say this, and I know every team has injury problems, but losing Fabian Holland and then just after halftime losing Cam Roygaard were huge events for the All Blacks. And then that's on top of losing Geordie Barrett a couple of weeks ago. Now, these all are players that were forming an integral part in the game plan of the All Blacks. And when you're playing tough opposition, and England are a good team.
No doubt about that.
They played to a good plan, but we could have still had the beating of them. I think if we had been able to continue to enforce our game plan on them, and losing Roygaard looked to me to be the final nail in the coffin in terms of the All Blacks getting the field position they needed and keeping that threat up against England, because he is a threat to an opposition. And when that was gone, it seemed to loosen England up a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, All Black teams in the past, Laurie, have lost 2 or 3 key players to injury. And someone would step up and fill their place, sometimes overfill it. We've got to be pretty fragile if that means, we can't come back from that. Well,
Sean, I agree with you. Okay, I certainly do agree with you, but it's what I'm saying is it looks like to me things have changed in the coaching of rugby teams from when I did it. I was the coach, Earl was my assistant coach, and we didn't have defence coaches and we didn't have attack coaches.
And conditioning coaches.
So the players, and Earl and I were exactly on the same page.
Yep.
And that then took any confusion or uncertainty away from the players. They knew what they were meant to be doing. Whether they could play the game plan as intended is another matter, whether the opposition let us do it. And it looks to me like with this All Black team, that they're not all 100% sure on what the players around them are going to do. Do the forwards know where the backs are going to have the next breakdown, or the line it's going to be on, or what they're going to do? It looks to me at times like that is missing from the play of the
Now,
All Blacks.
but that's weird, Laurie, because you look at Scott, at Razor's coaching record. What were the Crusaders and Canterbury famous for, knowing as a team everything that was going to... It wasn't, it was bloody boring rugby sometimes, but everyone knew what their job was. They were so well drilled. They were a bloody machine, particularly in second halves. And it seems so strange to me that a Razor coach team doesn't have that same culture. And you're, in fact, telling me it's exactly what it doesn't have.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not commenting on the culture because I don't know. And the team itself seems to be quite united. But I wonder if Razor has got the same control over everything that's going on that he had with... He doesn't look to me to be quite the same confident, we know what we're doing, coach that he was with the Crusaders. And that was why I asked, I'm wondering if all of the coaches are on the same page. And what messages, are the players getting exactly the same message right through the coaching team?
And maybe it's the corporate culture of New Zealand rugby itself that is the problem in that regard. That might be an influence from outside the core of the team, that there are politics and there's office politics and there's, other things, other factors bearing in on the team that doesn't allow them to completely concentrate on simply the art of winning rugby games.
Well, I have no knowledge of that, but you may well be onto something. Yeah.
Laurie, as an aside, mate, I've just had someone said, could you please ask Laurie, is his brother Colin still around? Colin was my PE teacher at South Otago High School. I had the utmost respect for him. Great teacher and motivator.
No, not Colin, Rick.
Oh, Rick. Okay, it was Rick.
Yeah, and he is, and he's still keeping great health.
All right. We got Wales. Is it next weekend, Laurie?
Yeah.
Teams must hate playing the All Blacks after a loss because they tend to bounce back and do everything they couldn't quite do the week before. Even if they win that one, they're still going to come home disappointed, aren't they?
Yes, they are, because it's not every All Black team that has the opportunity to play all of the home nations in one tour, and therefore try to get the Grand Slam. But look, they cannot take Wales that lightly. And they won't, and I'm expecting that they'll achieve a good win against Wales. But I just want to make just one comment. Every team has a plan B. They go on the paddock with a plan A, or they should have a plan B. And I could see it happening with England, particularly towards the end of that first half, where they were getting back into the game. They couldn't score tries, so what did they do? They had an alternative scoring method, and they did that incredibly well with those 2 drop goals, and that actually brought them right up, almost 1 point behind the All Blacks. That's a big difference going in at halftime. 12-7 down. 12-5 down to 12-11. And
actually, when you say that, Laurie, here's another thing I think deep in our rugby culture. In the time I think that you coached, and for most of my adult life, the All Blacks didn't need a plan B because if we put our minds to it, we could win because we were just bloody better than everyone else. And we're not now, so we do have to develop a culture of having a plan A or B or C. I don't think we really needed it in the past because we were tougher and we were fitter in the last 20 minutes and we had greater skill sets.
Well, I don't know about having greater skill sets. These guys do some pretty skillful things, make no bones about it. But, you could well be right. And the other nations have caught up.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. Although like in my time, France was probably, was the real powerful team in world rugby outside the All Blacks. And so, they're not quite there at the moment. But, look, it's a tough one, Sean. Without being a bit closer to the team,
Yeah.
I can only speculate on what I think is not quite happening. But going forward, we need that leadership team for a start to be 100% united and on the same path altogether.
Which means we need a coaching team that shows them and leads them towards that path.
Yes. Well, we need a coaching team that is 100% united with the team on the game plan they're going to execute.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's not there now.
Good on you, Laurie. Always a pleasure, mate. Talk again soon. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I couldn't offer you more, Sean.
No. You get us all thinking. You stop me giving up on them. It's deep in the DNA, mate. It's deep in the DNA. Thank you.
Yeah, don't give up on them. There's some great players there, and I'm sure they'll sort it out.
Good on you. Laurie Mains, former All Black coach. Different era. That's an interesting observation. Sometimes you don't look... Because none of the All Blacks are bad rugby players. They're all exceptional rugby players, but the team didn't win. And once again, they kind of gave up. We lose in the last 15 and 20. That's where we used to win. And I know a lot of you don't care, but I still do, even though I pretend I don't.